Hello guys and welcome to the last intro video we have, part 3, where we are going to go through my sheet, which I have created with Google Sheets. I have Ranger Dane with me.
What's up, Johnny?
Cheers. Delicious. We were thinking we should just say a few words about Charlie Munger's passing. We heard the sad news. It was yesterday, was it, Dane?
Yeah, it was yesterday. Cheers to you, Charlie, man.
Yeah. What a legend.
Seriously, what a loss. I mean, I know he made it to 99, but what a beast.
Yeah. Incredible. We were just talking about it off camera, like incredible quick still, even if he was 99 years old. Very quick and sharp in the head still. It's very impressive, and what an impressive guy he has been.
Yeah, whether it was the last Berkshire meeting or that last interview he did, still is like on top of his game. It's nuts.
Yeah. Yeah.
You'll be missed.
Truly, and I think watching his interviews and yeah, all the interviews he has, it's been very impressive. I have found like things that impress me almost every time he speaks. So it was very sad news when I heard it.
I just like when he talks shit to other investors. He's so funny.
Just with a sentence, he can make you laugh, right? And just
Yeah,
put people in
just
their
some of the way.
place.
The way he would answer people's questions, he just made me laugh.
Yeah, yeah. No, it was a great loss, and yeah, sad to hear.
Yeah, in other news, you see, I know we talked about GameStop last time, and I'm pretty sure this volume that's coming out of nowhere is from everybody noting that we were talking about it.
Yeah, I also think that the stream was very influential in the price there. So, but no one is paying us, right?
No one's paying us. It's
No,
just people watching, It's just a large audience that we appeal to.
yeah. I think we have 2 likes on our video so far, so we have a very strong pull. So
We call that a
yeah,
200% increase in investing.
yeah. Let's try to. We need to stay positive. All right. So I have not, as you can see, my sheet looks a bit different than the RK one, and also different from Dane's. Like I said, I'm using Google Sheets, so in that way it's similar, but there's still a lot of the same stuff in my sheet that it was in RK's one. It just looks a bit different. I have everything now in one view, so if I scroll a little bit down, you won't see something, but if you scroll further down, I have a lot of calculations and stuff going on. So I have tried to make everything in one view. So that means also that I have cut out a few things that I didn't see RK talk too much about some of the things that I've cut out. I know that he pays attention to them, but still, just to make everything in one view, I had to prioritize a bit what to look for, and I have them further down in the sheet, so they are not gone, but you won't see it here in the main view. And I'm also using a different data provider. I'm using Wise Sheets, so that's an add-on in Google Sheets. It looks like this. So for me to pull up stocks and tickers, I have to open Wise Sheets, and I usually go through the quarter data. So there's an add-on, and then I can just search for a company and press get data, and then it will come up with the financial statements and everything. So this is usually how I do it, and I just have to wait for the data to get pulled in. So when it's finished, I go back to the fundamentals and it shows up. I don't know, Dane, but have you heard about Y sheets? I don't think many people have.
I hadn't until you had talked about it. Because when I was building my sheets, one of the first things I did was test out Share Radar. And because I only paid for a month just at the first part just to get used to trying it. I had to learn how to implement that data to come in. So once I decided that I was going to try using Share Radar, everything was built off of that. So then after that, changing it would have been I would have basically had to restart. So no, I just kind of stuck with that one.
Yeah. And I was the same. I looked at Share Radar also, and for me personally, I just thought that it was the price tag was a bit too steep for me that didn't know much about building sheets or anything, so I didn't take the chance. But then I found a cheaper alternative, and that's Y sheets, and I've been very happy with them so far. So this is how it works, just pulls up all the numbers, and then I can go back to my sheet. This is the fundamental one, and I have some scripts that you will see in the that goes runs in the background. And if I tick this box here, it actually pulls up all the tickers that I have pulled up through Y sheets, and then I can just press them. That's also a script, and you see the data changes here, and I get all the numbers automatically pulled in. It's a bit more laggy now that we are recording, but it still goes quickly, I think.
I was going to say that seems still pretty snappy.
Yeah, I agree. And I also have some conditional formatting, so the ticker I'm looking at turns in a different color here. So if I have a lot of tickers, they will all show up here at the side. And as you can see, I have similar links to Dane in the middle here. I have Open Insider. I have I have Seeking Alpha. Oh no, sorry about that. I have Seeking Alpha. I have Whale Wisdom and some social media sites, and also the SEC pages, along with some charts and the bond information that I also use FINRA like you did. You talked about them, right, Dane?
Yeah, but I didn't talk about the disappointment since they changed the website.
The update.
Yeah, that update was terrible, Finra. Change it back, please.
I have actually been in touch with them and emailed them and said the update was very confusing, but I don't think they have any plans to go back,
It
unfortunately.
used to be so smooth. It worked so well. I don't know
Yeah,
who they're trying to appeal to.
yeah, I know. No, unfortunately,
Not
but
us small people
there's
like
still
that.
a way to do it, but you have to apply some filters. It's much more time consuming, but we can go through it in the live stream.
Yeah, yeah.
I also have this is like a basic function that just shows like I think it's a 3-year chart here in the sheet with a link. So if I press it, I'm using TradingView. So it jumps to the chart if I click on that one. So I also have the chart here. So it's just easy to look at it.
Nice.
And then I have all the metrics here with the conditional formatting. I know that I'm using similar calculations on the conditional formatting as you, Dane. And I know you talked about it a little bit last time. It's not identical to Roaring Kitty because it's very hard to figure out how he did it, but this works for me and it makes things pop out when I look at it, and that's the whole point, I think. So it's good enough. And I know you mentioned it last time, Dane, but since we have different data providers, we also have a little bit of a different numbers.
Yeah, mine's trailing 12 months. And it can be adjusted too. And when there's updates, sometimes they update it. So it's a lot of times it's hard to compare my data exactly to other websites or whatnot. But either way, like you said, it just gives you the gist of what's going on, which is more than you need, really.
Yeah. And in the stream, when we are together, we can also compare numbers and get like it's a good way to check each other's numbers also, if we have similar ones or if something is way off with our data. I
Yeah,
think
and
it's a good thing.
you brought up a good point before. I was thinking because it's Y Sheets is what it's called, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Since is it free or is it?
Oh no, but I don't remember how much I pay, but it's like $50-$60 per year, I think.
All right, so it's substantially cheaper than Share Radar data. So my
Yeah.
point being is, if anybody's interested in building these spreadsheets and the actual cost of doing that is a concern, I would definitely think of this as your avenue because Share Radar is not cheap.
That's what I was exactly my point. So because I have never built any spreadsheet before, so I needed to make sure that I basically didn't waste any money and failed,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I took the plunge, but I guess I didn't do a ton of research. Like I said, I just kind of stuck with what I had seen RK use only because I knew it worked.
Yeah. Yeah. No, so there are different ways to do this. I think Dane and I have compared number in the past, and we have very similar numbers, and at least the trends are similar. So we talked about a little bit in the last video that we tend to agree on stuff and disagree also on the same stuff and see the same things based on these fundamental numbers. So yeah, it's pretty similar, I think.
Yeah, I usually they're off by like pennies.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so I'm looking at the same things that we went through in the other sheet. What I usually look the most at is like excess cash, revenue, of course, book, tangible book, all the cash metrics like operating cash flow, free cash flow, net cash flow, EBITDA. Um, I look at the dividend. I usually like it when they don't have any dividend, which we will talk more about in the stream. And then I have also added some depth columns down here, or I mean rows. I know RK had to scroll over a bit for the depth thing, and I just wanted to add it here. So yeah, but I have had to cut down some things, but for me it has worked so far, and if I need any extra information, I have other places to go to find them. And I'm also like Dane, looking for the averages, like the 3-year and the 7-year average, to see how stable a company is. So that's why I have added those down here. Here on the side, I have some short interest information. Short shares. It's pulling in from Market Watch, I think. The last date of the update, the percentage, and how much it has changed in the last month. And then I have some stupid valuation calculator. I don't pay attention to it too much. It's more, if it's negative, it turns red, and if it's positive, it turns green. It's just like a quick thing to look at, but it doesn't weigh much to me. And up here is the leverage calculator that we talked about a little bit, and this is this is how I met Dane, this whole leverage calculator, and it's very tricky, but we have made it work to the purpose that it's supposed to do, right, Dane?
Yeah. As far as I understand, I mean, obviously, some of the companies we look at are pretty heavily leveraged. So the idea is, as Casher, for instance, starts to get short, and they might have something due, or they just the business itself isn't generating enough in cash flow. They're going to have to dilute. They're going to have to dilute shares. So a lot of my metrics get adjusted as if how could we get that debt leverage down to a rational level, so like a third of net assets basically, and the money that would generate from releasing extra shares at a discount, that money gets added into their free cash, and then that way the business isn't so leveraged, and it adjusts all the metrics downwards. So that helps you to kind of understand if they were to dilute shareholders, kind of how that would affect the actual metrics per share, which is one way. It's not perfect. Honestly, it's just something to just get your head wrapped around the fact that they might have to release or double their shares or or worse. some companies, it tells me they have to release like 5 million shares or more than that, or 50 million. So just something to help compare one company to another when one's pretty leveraged compared to the others.
Yeah. And a lot of the companies that we deal in will do this. They will have to issue shares because they are very levered.
Yeah, especially
So
going into this environment now that it's a high rate market.
yeah, so this is something you would probably see a lot that we talk about, and it's very simple to like just like RK had it will light up here green or red, and it will say safe or levered, and then the sheet will be automatically adjusted. Yeah. On this side, I have the insiders. I can see the insiders and also the daily change. And up here is like the price and market cap and the industry and all that. So yeah, I think this is the fundamental one, and yeah, I think it works well for me. I also have some other scripts, but I can go through those more when we start to stream, and you can see how I use it. So this is where I go to after I look at the daily movers, because usually I start with the daily movers. That's my main screener right now. It looks like this for me. I don't have all the metrics in mind. Um, I don't have a good reason to why I don't have them. Once again, I want to have everything in the same view, and if I tend to look at the percentage to 52-week low plus the market cap. I look at all the things you see here basically, um, and then I just pull them up in the fundamentals where I will get more information about them. Here on the side you have all the insider buys. On this side here you have some link just to open Insider, TradingView, and Seeking Alpha for news. Yeah, you see here the industry, industry. I have the business description here, the price, the moves, everything. And then I have some color codes. This when it turns black, it basically means that I have pulled it up before within the last 3 months. I have some sheets working in the background. So one of them tells me if I have looked at a company before, just because we go through so many in like a month. So it's hard to keep track of it. Do you agree with that, Dane?
Yeah, one of the when you start tracking over 1,000 companies, it's super helpful sometimes to just keep track kind of which ones you've seen, because a lot of times when I look at something within a few minutes, I can tell it's not what I'm looking for. So even though I looked at it, I didn't really look in depth in it. So it's just kind of a, hey, it's a heads up, you looked at this one. So if my notes might say it's on deck, which more means like I did see some interesting things about it, but maybe it's not cheap enough, or the narrative's poor or something like that currently. I'll throw it on deck, and then that way, if I see it's on deck and I've looked at it recently, it might be more interesting. If
Yeah.
it's if it's not on deck and I looked at it recently, I probably could just pass over it again.
Yeah. And your process is a bit different to mine there, because I don't have the on deck and the watch list, but I have a tracker sheet. So everything that I find that is interesting, I manually add it to my tracker sheet. I will go through it very soon, so you will see it. But and that's why some of these you can see it's white, and that just means that I have looked at it in the last 3 months and added it to the tracker sheet. So it's just to differentiate a bit the one I have looked at but didn't find interesting, and then the one I have already added. So there's some color coding here. The orange one are things I have not looked at yet in the past 3 months. And then I also use some filters. I have pretty much tried to get rid of the biotechnology companies, and that's just now it's too risky for me to deal in that industry right now. So and what I have seen is that they tend to flood these daily movers. So I just want to clean up a bit. So I use some filters that they get rid of them. So you won't find so much biotech in here right now. I may add them in the future, but right now for my strategy, I have wanted to stay away from them. We didn't talk about that, Dane, but is it some industries that you try to avoid?
I do pull everything in because sometimes there might be a biotech or a medical company that does have revenues. Because a lot of times they don't even have revenues, so that's a pretty quick pass for me. Just because I have to be able to evaluate something. Not that I wouldn't trade on technicals, but like I said, I try to take pretty concise uh, company, like as in terms of my numbers. So if I'm going to take a big position, I'm not going to take a big position in a biotech that I barely know anything about, no matter what, even if the chart looks great or whatever I'm trying to base that off of. So I'll leave them in there, but a lot of times I do bypass them for the same reason. I meant to ask you, what percent do you pull in for your daily movers? Like how much does it have to move?
Oh yeah, I also have a filter there that I think I have the limit is like 7% up or 7% down. Then
Oh,
it
okay.
get pulled in. So I think you have. Do you have it on 10?
Yeah, I got 10. And even then sometimes, man, it floods a lot of companies in. So
Yeah,
if
yeah,
you're filtering other ones out, it probably helps with yours too.
yeah. No, so this is my main screen, and this is what I check daily, along with Open Insider and those things that you mentioned last time, Dave. And this is where, yeah, I find most of the stuff that I'm looking at. And then I pull them up in the fundamental sheet and I do the research. I check for all the links, if there's some articles. Like Dane, I follow some Seeking Alpha authors. I have a list that I think you also copied from RK, right?
For which ones?
The Seeking Alpha authors,
Yeah,
analysts.
I kind of went through and stole his analysts.
Yeah, I did
And
the
to be
same.
honest, I kind of agree with who he looked at. Most of the time, like Jeremy Blum, Jeremy Raper, Justin. Um,
Kingdom.
the other ones, Kingdom Capital, Courage
Yeah,
and Conviction. I think some of
yeah,
the other ones, like, a lot of those guys that write on Seeking Alpha, you guys are great. I love to
yeah,
hear what you guys have to say. I take a lot of it, into serious consideration sometimes. So,
yeah.
and
It's so
I don't
helpful.
always agree, but
No, no, but that's the point. Like, and then you can also read the comment section. There's a lot of good information in the comment section, I think. And yeah, thanks a lot for doing all that work. It really matters to people like Dan and I. I know I get very excited when I see that some stuff I'm looking at, that there's also an article from one of the people that we follow. It helps me, it can help me to get confidence in my thesis. So yeah, we really appreciate all the hard work. And then if I like it, I add it to the tracker, which usually looks like this. This is I have this is a big code, a script that it's a button. So I just fill in all the information here manually, and I tend to write longer comments. I know than you do, Dane. I know you use a lot of shortcuts and stuff like that. Um,
yeah, I have the same kind of idea, I'm sure, but mine I just put shortcuts so then that way it doesn't take me so long to write stuff
yeah,
in.
and for me also, I write my comments in English, even though it's not my language, and I tend to write like a bit more detail, but it's for myself to remember exactly what I've done. So that's just how I do it. And then I hit the save, and it sends it to this sheet where I have then started to build a database of stocks that I have looked at and that I like. And here I also have some information. The insider buys here. I've recently now added like if there's some new news or press releases or SEC filings, it shows up here. And the numbers here, there are those represent the days since it arrived. So for QRTA, they have some new news like 4 days ago. If you go to Seeking Alpha, you will find that there's some updated news. I just thought it was a good. Sometimes a company that we look for, they don't go up like 20%, but maybe 3% many days in a row on new news. So when we deal with so many companies, it's good to have an overview of what's going on because it's very easy to miss it.
Sorry, I'm jumping on me here.
We have companies. Yeah,
But
so
that news feature that you added is great. That's awesome.
yeah, I really like it because we have discussed this off camera that sometimes you miss out on things.
Yeah,
It's
no,
hard to
it's
stay
just so much to
updated
keep
on
track
everything.
of sometimes.
Yeah, and for me personally, I write on many of these comments. I have write like check if there's some new news, and then I didn't have a alert system, so now I have it, and I have found it helpful so far.
Yeah.
And you can see here, like the market cap, I like the deal in. It goes from, what do you call it, nano cap,
Yeah.
very, very small, to like, I don't like the deal in too much higher of like 5-6 billion. So you will rarely see large companies in here. And then, of course, I have some conditional formatting here too. Yeah. I also have the dashboard. I need to update it a bit. I don't look so much at this. I tend to look at it if there's some, after I found some stocks that I might be interested, I go here. But I know RK usually started here, and I think that's good. But I also I look at a lot of apps and stuff on my phone, so I usually know before I sit down at the computer that what has going on in the world. So, but sometimes it's good to have, and I use it a lot, but I don't start with it. And then I know Dane also mentioned that he has some sectors and like to compare with the peers. And I have the same. Mine just looks a bit different, and I think it's a bit more easy. I mean, simple, not easy, but simple. Um, and I have the same color coding here than I talked in the daily movers. So if I looked at a company, it turns black. And if I have it in the tracker, it turns orange, I think, in this one. Yeah. But anyways, this is something I use sometimes. Usually, you will see me use the daily movers, the fundamentals, and the tracker. Yeah. I think that's it, Dane. Do you have any comments?
No, I think it looks good. It's definitely coming along well.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing I would add is when I tend to use the dashboard there, I do use it occasionally when I'm looking at companies and the commodity prices matter. That's definitely one where I'll check the charts on that kind of thing. Um, just a quick pan to see if anything moved that day that I'm interested in. If I know there's like a industry or a sector that I tend to deal in a lot, if I notice that that's at a cyclical low or something like that, I might start looking at more companies in that realm.
Yeah.
Just for some ideas. Typically, I feel like I mean this is common to value investing. Is a whole industry kind of gets hit. Like for instance, when the banking sector crashed, there was so many banks you could get a double on just because they all went down for essentially no reason.
Yeah.
As soon as they guaranteed deposits, like there you go. Every one of those banks, most of them, unless they're poorly designed it where they took on too much in bonds or treasuries and all that kind of stuff and kind of got knocked on that. They were going to bounce back. So it was like a quick, easy win for some of those.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. I find this useful. I just don't start my process here all the time. But it's very good to have and to check in on. What I like with all these sheets that RK had, it's like you have everything where you need it, and the things that you don't have, you have shortcuts to links, and it's very easy to find information, and then it's your job to put it all together and create a picture. And that's of course the hard part, and what we are going to do in the streams and what we practice on also. And I just also want to make sure that you don't, even if I add something in the tracker, it doesn't mean that it's a buy recommendation or anything like that. Like we have said in all the movies, we move fast and things change quickly, and I just want everyone to uh, read our disclaimer, so we don't make anyone lose a lot of money because of some recommendation that we didn't do. I think that's important to say.
Yeah, for every great choice I make one that I'm like, you're so dumb.
Yeah.
So
And we try. It's true. We have talked about that a lot, Dane and I, and we have failed a lot. That's how it is here.
yeah, stay away from
Yeah.
options. Good advice.
Yeah. You
But
you can get the same if you just read on Wall Street Bets. You can get the same.
yeah.
Yeah.
Go back to Reddit.
Yeah. All right. I think that's it. And the next video will be about doing actual research, and hopefully we can do it together and go through some companies.
Yeah, that sounds good. I'm hoping we'll be able to stream this weekend. Is that correct?
Yeah, I hope so. I think either Friday or Saturday, right?
Yeah, I think Saturday will probably work best for me.
Yeah.
But
We will try
yeah,
to make something work in this coming weekend and go through some companies.
yeah. And there's quite a bit moving around. So there's going to be plenty to look at.
Yep.
And during that, like I said at first, it'll probably be just Johnny and I rambling on here to each other. And as one of us is looking at something, the other one's checking on different parts. So it's kind of nice actually, because RK was always just himself. So when you have one other person to kind of bounce ideas off, it is different. It's helpful sometimes to compare and talk about ideas. And you might get super bullish on an idea, and then Johnny's like, well, did you look at this? And I'm like, no, I did not. So thank you for pointing that out. And then, also changed my opinion, because I was like, oh, actually, I'm glad you pointed that out, because, I wasn't thinking on that right off the bat.
Yeah.
And then I think the other big thing too is, before we hop into a position, we got to be pretty confident. So having someone else there just to critique you is nice.
Yeah, that I totally agree, and that's also what we hope, that if someone wants to watch us, that you can also contribute to some brainstorming about tickers.
Yeah, and like I said, we're not going to not show portfolios and stuff like that. So you guys can, if you have questions about why we're in things, or what we liked or didn't like about things, or you want to add to our research and maybe present a case on why you do like something, we're definitely going to be looking at all the comments and things like that too, to try and figure out where like sentiments at as well, because that's really important. I think that's one thing we didn't mention much, is that we do check Twitter or X, whatever. Now it's X. Just to see what people are saying out there, because sometimes the sentiment, when it changes, that's when it really matters. People always say, buy the rumors and sell on the story. So
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to be watching out for that kind of stuff too.
Yeah, and I'm sure people will learn more about what we look for different things in different companies, but we go through the same stuff every time, but sometimes maybe social sentiment matters more than other times, and you will get familiar with all how we look at that in the coming stream. So we are very excited to start now, because like Dane said the other day, we have worked a lot to get these streams up and running, and hopefully some people will appreciate it, and maybe we can all learn something together, because like RK also said many times, it can be lonely to be an individual investor.
Yeah, not many people are out there flipping stones. So
Yeah. Yeah. But hopefully you like the two different approaches to the RK sheets. Dane is using Excel and ShareRadar, and I'm using Google Sheets and Wise Sheets. I think both works well.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
think we will end it there, Dane, and the next one will be a live stream about doing actually research.
Yeah, that way we're not rambling here for too long for everybody.
Yeah.
Cheers, Charlie.
Yeah. Okay. See you.